Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty profound. We're going to look at how you can actually find true breakthrough performance. But here's the catch. We aren't going to do it by adding more skills or more tasks or more hustle to your plate. We're actually going to do it by subtracting. Why does your mind look exhausted before your legs do? Seriously, think about that for a second. It's a question that kind of stops you right in your tracks, doesn't it? Because whether you're an athlete pushing for a personal best on the track or a professional staring down yet another massive high-pressure project at work, this feeling of deep, almost unexplainable exhaustion is something we literally all face. You feel totally drained even when your physical tank is full. So why is that?
Section 1. The burden of preparation.
Okay, let's unpack this by meeting someone who knows that exact kind of exhaustion inside out. A young runner named Arjun. Now, Arjun had one singular driving dream. He wanted to be a national champion. And man, he absolutely put in the work. Every single morning, long before the sun even thought about coming up, Arjun was out there on the track training harder than literally anyone else. His physical prep? Flawless. He had a coach optimizing his technique, a top-tier nutritionist perfecting his diet, even a sports psychologist teaching him all these advanced breathing exercises. He had every single box checked. But the actual execution? Well, every race ended the exact same way. He'd start out strong, looking great, but then he'd just lose his rhythm halfway through and finish way behind guys he knew for a fact he was faster than. Despite perfecting his physical game, he consistently fell apart under pressure.
Section 2. The invisible backpack.
Well, after another agonizingly disappointing race, Arjun goes for a walk by himself on this misty forest trail near the stadium. He is just deeply frustrated, racking his brain trying to figure out what invisible force is holding him back. And out there on the quiet trail, he runs into an old groundskeeper carrying nothing but a simple broom. The old man watches him for a second, clearly seeing the total defeat in Arjun's posture, and he says, "You run as though you're carrying a mountain." Now, Arjun actually laughed at this. He got super defensive right away. He says to the guy, "Look at me. I have no weights. I have no injuries. I don't carry any burden." After all, he was young, strong, and in his absolute physical prime.
But the old man just points to this large physical backpack sitting near a tree. He tells Arjun to put it on and run to the next hill. Arjun does, and it is incredibly heavy. When he stumbles back, completely out of breath, the old man tells him to open it up. And inside, it's filled with solid, heavy stones. But here's where it gets really interesting. On each stone, a sentence is carved. Things like, "I always fail under pressure. What if I disappoint everyone? I must prove myself." The old man looks right at him and says, "These are your stones. I only wrote down what you carry every single day." Naturally, Arjun protests. He argues that these thoughts are crucial, that worrying about them actually helps him stay sharp and prepared. But the old man just hands him his broom and asks this absolutely brilliant, piercing question. "When I clean the stadium, do I study every piece of garbage before throwing it away?" Arjun, of course, shakes his head and says no. And the old man replies, "Then why do you spend hours studying your mental garbage?" Wow. That realization hits Arjun harder than any grueling sprint he's ever run. It completely shatters his core assumption that overthinking and hoarding all his fears somehow keeps him prepared. Section 3. Dropping the mental stones. So the very next morning at the track, Arjun shows up, but not with some new physical routine. Instead, he has this strange internal experiment in mind. He decides to test the old man's logic in real time. He comes up with a really simple mechanism. Step 1. Notice the thought. Every time his mind whispered a doubt, like, "What if I fail?" or "You're not ready," he just acknowledged it. Step 2. He visualized physically pulling that heavy stone out of his backpack and just dropping it. And step 3. Keep running. Notice, drop, run. Notice, drop, run. He just repeated this cycle over and over, creating this lighter, rhythmic flow, constantly tossing out those mental burdens on the fly with every step he took.
Section 4. The weightless race. After days of practicing this mental drop, the invisible backpack finally actually felt lighter. Fast forward to race day. The runners line up at the starting blocks. The whole stadium goes completely pin-drop quiet. And then the starting gun fires. For the very first time in years, there was no argument happening inside his head, no replay of old failures dragging his focus backward, no heavy, anxious conversation about everyone's expectations pushing down on his shoulders. There was absolutely no fear. He wasn't running against his opponents anymore, you know? He wasn't even running for victory. He was completely locked into a flow state. All he experienced was the sound of his footsteps against the track, the air rushing past him, and the steady, powerful rhythm of his own breathing. He was just running. And the result? He absolutely flew across that finish line, a massive personal best.
The reporters immediately swarmed him, desperately wanting to know what changed. Was it a new technique? Did he get a new coach? Arjun just smiled at them and said, "I stopped carrying things that were never part of the race." It was that exact realization that finally unlocked the speed and power he literally always had inside him. Section 5. From Runner to Leader. Now, let's jump ahead in time. Years later, Arjun has long since retired from the track. Today, he's a top-level executive in the corporate world, leading literally thousands of employees. But here's the thing. The critical lessons he learned on that running track, they apply just as directly to the boardroom. One day, a bright, super-driven young manager comes into Arjun's office. She sits down and says, "I work harder than everyone else. I prepare more than everyone else. So why do I always feel so exhausted?" It's the exact same dynamic Arjun faced as a kid on the track. It just perfectly illustrates how those exact same invisible burdens plague modern high achievers. We get trapped in this false belief that success requires us to carry more weight, more anxiety, and more pressure. So hearing her exhaustion, Arjun slowly opens a drawer right there beneath his executive desk. He reaches in and he pulls out an old physical stone. And etched deeply right into the surface are the words, "I must prove myself." He gently places that stone on the table right between them. He looks at her and simply says, "Before we improve your performance, we should probably check your backpack." Section 6. Checking your own backpack. All right, so what's the actual takeaway for us here? What should you grab from this explainer for your own pursuit of breakthrough performance? Well, it's time to check your own invisible backpack. The absolute secret here is that the heaviest things people carry around every day are completely invisible. Just like we saw in Arjun's incredible transformation from this burdened, overthinking athlete into a high-performing leader, he only found true success by intentionally releasing those heavy mental stones, the "I must prove myself" stones, the "what if I fail" stones. You've got to shift your mindset. Move away from this trap of believing that you somehow need to carry more expectations to be successful and start deeply understanding the pure, unadulterated power of letting go. Because your greatest performance breakthrough is rarely going to come from learning to carry more. It comes from finally deciding to put the backpack down. And that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. What stones are you carrying today that were never even part of your race?